We all know that the advertising industry is booming. A 30-second flash-a-thon of brightly lit, amazing images spike our hedonistic desires just enough to consider making a purchase. It's a time-tested method that companies now pay big to utilise. It works because our brains take in information and images without realising it. Derren Brown, the mentalist, is a professional at planting thoughts into people's heads, simultaneously getting them to believe that it was their own idea. He can probably explain the process a bit better than I can, but the fact is, it is possible. If only there was a way of doing this to a larger number of people. If you was to stretch out the TV commercial over a longer period of time, let's say 90 minutes, and replace the product being sold with an idea conveyed by the most attractive humans we can find, we can start to get our head around how certain governments could see the opportunity to influence populations. The films I can best use to explain this argument are those that emerge from the great powerhouse of filmmaking, Hollywood. American films are watched worldwide, and they are the perfect advertisement and propaganda for the US.
I lied.
With such wide, global-reaching fingers, could they let such a penetrating weapon go to waste? Could any country? Let's not just condemn the US. Maybe such a tool has already aided to the dominance of the US in ways that we can't fully calculate. Some American films during the 90s got to the point that they never even tried to disguise the fact that they wanted us to think that the Russians were the bad guys. Since then, we've moved on from believing that the Russians wanted to conquer the West. The narrative has now changed in the media, and we are told that the impending doom looms behind the growing Chinese population. If one side of a political group gains control of a large filmmaking studio, should you consider it normal that they stand up and inadvertently push forward their beliefs onto the public? If other countries are using propaganda to influence their populations, are countries that don't use this tool willing to let it go to waste? Adolf Hitler, in his book Mein Kampf, outlines the battle between countries with propaganda. He states how it should be used to influence foreign and home nations, and points out England's successful propaganda campaign during the First World War. The injection of politics that has nothing to do with enhancing the art form of filmmaking only subtracts from a chance to truly deliver a meaningful message. To some extent, everything can be considered political, but within the craft of filmmaking, a truly good director, armed with an unbiased screenplay, should be able to walk the fine line and deliver a true work of art that exposes a deep, questioning, inherent, universal lesson to mankind. Let's take The Godfather for instance. Over the course of the 3 movies, it delivers a message that power and wealth mean nothing without more important values like family and morals.
But don't ever take sides with anyone against the family again.
It follows Italian Americans, but it doesn't try to make you dislike or like Italian Americans. The focus is on that deeper meaning, the one that transcends culture, race, and geographic location. The Shawshank Redemption is another film that struck a chord with audiences, because the climax of the film was a man realising that he has won his inner struggle. It wasn't centred around a bomb being placed in a busy area by an enemy of the country that is making the film. True danger arises if the public have been softened up through media, mainly movies and news, via subliminal messaging. Then when the government say we are, for instance, going to invade this country or support that country, the citizenry in the back of their minds have already had a false perception implanted by the media. The Lord of the Rings, Star Wars and Batman series that people would agree are good films. And they do have relatable political themes. War in the name of peace has been a part of human history since records began. People seem to be drawn to such narratives. However, these films would have been vastly downgraded if when Darth Vader took off his mask, he was a Chinese guy. Or The Lord of the Rings, instead of fighting the orcs, the enemy had a more Russian sounding name. What if The Dark Knight, the Joker was more Kim Jong-un looking? It would have served the interest of the warmongers amongst the government, but these films would have then failed the people. Really, the question I'm asking is, do you want to pay for the pleasure, sometimes a lot of money, in cinemas with a family, to be injected with someone else's idea on politics? This isn't only happening to you, but also to children, who may not be of an age to understand what they are being told is right or wrong, who is good or bad. Many minds can be moulded with such a vastly absorbed medium. Good movies do put forward ideas and themes that probably make us ask questions and promote meaningful debate. This is exactly what good movies should do, but a lot of the public may not look too deeply. Many of the blockbusters offer the propaganda sandwich, along with flashy special effects and a chance for the audience to relax, drop in their guard. Production companies will continue to churn out such movies if audiences continue to pay the money. But do you want to be subconsciously infiltrated, or do you think that politics should stay out of the movies? Filmmaking is an art form, an incredibly influential art form. Anyone that wants to be remembered as a good writer or director in many years to come shouldn't play into the hands of current political fads. Make something meaningful and beneficial, beautiful and timeless.